While these hours of destiny draw out, the citizen makes his preparations. Windows are darkened to render blackouts complete. Anderson shelters are stocked so that there may be nothing to think of at the last moment. The wise man carries buckets for water into his home as protection against the risk of incendiary bombs. First aid kit is assembled and gone over, and gas masks are tested once again to make sure they're in good order. If your gas mask has deteriorated, you can get a new one. At St. Pancras ARP office, they were busy fitting small kiddies with the masks for which they had been too young last year. And here's a picture which epitomizes the insanity of this appalling chapter of history, a child in a gas mask. As a matter of fact, you can have a fortified kitchen if you like. The housewife enters, shakes her hair out after removing the gas mask, closes the airlock and gets down to the job of making the old man's supper. If we've got to build a refuge room in every house, why not the kitchen? You keep your grub handy and safe from anything except a direct hit. In London streets, quietly and without fuss, preparedness is taking shape. Trenches are being dug around vital points. Earth is energetically shoveled into bags by willing hands and piled against key buildings. Institutions and business premises are being protected with the invaluable sandbag, which enjoys the most aristocratic form of transport to its destination. Evacuation rehearsal, that is, rehearsal of the assembly of children for an evacuation, went off smoothly in the elementary schools. The youngsters turned up unconcernedly and took the proceedings in their stride. Carrying gas masks and their names on a label, they filed out to the railway stations from which they would entrain on the declaration of hostilities. Beyond that point, the rehearsal could not be pressed without disorganizing the railway services. Steel to the amount of tens of thousands of tons is being turned out for the various shelters which the Home Office has authorized for ARP. The furnaces are running full blast, and these Cardiff works, the most up-to-date of their kind in Europe, have had the busiest week in their history. But here is a rather different type of shelter made of steel arches and sheets, which will line trenches dug in the parks during the crisis. Trenches are a sound method of protection from bombardment. Not only do they afford refuge, but being below ground reduce the shock of the explosion. Elsewhere, the work was put out to contractors, as in Charlton Park, or in London's one and only Hyde Park, which has been adapted to many strange purposes, but never one more sudden than this emergency.